You don't have to sit like me. Just find the position that feels good to you, comfortable, and give yourself just a moment to arrive. Let go of whatever you've been doing so far today and whatever's to come. And tune into how you feel. Noticing your breath. And you don't need to change it, but just notice the flow of your breath. The inhale. That slight pause at the top before it circles into the exhale without any effort from you. And then that slight gap at the end of the exhale before it comes back round to the inhale. And perhaps you can visualize your breath moving through your body on an inhale, expanding out. And then on an exhale, an inhale expanding out through your body, and exhale retreating. And things to think about, to have just in the back of your mind. In the group we were talking about strength this week and inner strength. But I'd like to combine that with creativity and curiosity and play. So we can still have that inner strength that guides us through, that carries us through the things that we do, but maintain some play. And then notice your body. And perhaps come to lying down, or if you're not wanting to be on a mat, sit back in a chair and notice in whatever posture you take how the ground supports you. You might have stretched out your legs, even if you're sitting. Gravity pulling you down to the ground. And a support pushing up. And that's also unconditional. It happens without anybody trying to make it happen. So notice your body. Notice how it feels, scanning from your feet, up your legs, through your pelvis and chest. Down your arms and up to your head. Notice how your body feels today, and if anywhere in your body needs a little bit of extra care, or if it's your whole body that needs that extra care, extra compassion. And then take your arms overhead if you're lying down, and you can reach them up into the air if you wish, if you're sitting up. Feeling a full body stretch. And walk your heels over to one side, even if you're sitting, and your shoulders or your arms overhead to one side, coming into a kind of banana stretch. So I'll sit on a chair and show you the option there. But if you're lying, just sink into that stretch. You can take your arms overhead, sitting as well. Just feeling that stretch down the side of the body. And come back through centre and take it to the other side. Feet over, arms over. And come back to centre. Just bringing your knees into your chest and have a little rock side. If you're sitting, just have your hands on your knee and just rock your knees side to side. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe. We're going to have a twist if you're lying. You can do this sitting as well, but we'll go lying first. So dropping your knees over to the left side. And take your arms out in front and sweep that upper hand up into the air. And then slowly out to the opposite side. Just allowing your body to sink into the twist. If you're sitting, you can still take your knees to one side and sweep that arm out. It doesn't have to be a big movement, but notice what it feels like from the inside. And then when you're ready, give a little bit of engagement to your core. And that means like pulling your tummy in. And lift that hand back up. Let it take its journey back across the body to meet the other hand. Push to centre or come back to centre. Have a little wiggle in the middle. Knees to chest. And then drop your knees the opposite side. Or turn them the opposite side if you're sitting. Sweep out that hand again. And notice your body unfold a little as you do that. And where you feel it. The point of this kind of practice is noticing where and what it feels like from the inside. That's our interoceptive awareness. And I feel it more in my hip than my shoulder. Bring that arm up and back across to meet the other hand and push back to centre again. Little rock. We'll take a supine pigeon or a seated pigeon. Take your foot flat to the mat, flex the right foot, right ankle to left knee. And if you're sitting, just take it across so it's resting on the other leg. You can stay there or lift that left foot off the mat. You can even thread your arms through around that left thigh if that's comfortable for you. And even have a little rock side to side here. If you're sitting, do this gently. You don't really want your knee up in the air. And swap sides. So right foot flat, flex the left foot, left ankle to right knee. Stay there or lift. Hold through the thigh. Rock side to side. Let both feet come flat to the mat and just have a little windshield wiper side to side. We're going to come to seated, so you can either gently push yourself up to seated or rock and roll with me and come up to seated. And again, finding the position that's right for you, and it might be better if you do sit on a cushion here. Raising the hips just a little bit so that you're not, so that the hips are sort of above the knees. But as long as it's comfortable, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Pause here. And take the hands down to the mat, and we're going to lift them and visualize that the breath is moving your arms. So inhale and lift them up. Exhale and let them come down. And again, you might be faster than me or slower. And down. We're going to add a twist this time. So, inhale when you're next ready and bring them up. And on the exhale, we're going to, I'll mirror now, so we'll take the left hand to the right knee, the right hand behind. Inhale back up to centre. Exhale opposite side. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind. And then flow a little at your speed. Inhaling up and lengthening. Exhaling and twisting. You can even close your eyes here and just tune into how it feels and where you feel it in your body. You might notice it's your upper spine, it's your thoracic spine that's making that movement. Your lower spine, the bit that gets the backache, the lumbar spine, doesn't really twist very much. And when you've done an equal number, so you're finishing on the opposite side, next, inhale back to center. And exhale and release. Pause and notice. And the pause is the important bit. That's the bit where your brain does stuff. It's where the neurons make the changes, so never underestimate the pause. We'll take a little side stretch, but have a stretch with our neck first. So right hand down to the mat and walk the fingers away, keeping upright so they won't go very far. And then taking the left hand to the top of the head. Now we are not pulling our head. Please don't strain your neck. We're going to tip the head to the right and just gently help it move. It's a tiny movement and yet a strong sensation through the side of the neck and even through the shoulder. And breathe there. And before you put your head back up, release your hand and take it to the opposite side of your head and gently support it back up. Opposite side, hand down to the mat, hand above. Head tipping to the side. Noticing the subtlety and yet the strength in the sensation down the side of your neck and through your shoulder. And as you're ready, gently bringing your head back up and releasing your hand. We'll add a side bend. So this time, hand back down to the mat, but inhale, sweep up the opposite arm. Exhale over. And you're not leading from the hip. It's out from the waist and over. And back. Inhale up and over. And then you can flow there as well. So it can be as slow as you want, or you can make it faster. But perhaps you can even imagine your fingertips moving through water, something thicker than air, exploring, finding some curiosity in the movement. But also notice your own inner strength, sitting tall, maintaining position. And when you've done an even number, doesn't matter what side it stopped and started, just come to rest again and pause and notice. Lovely. We're going to stir the pot, which means taking some rotation, so taking the body forward, lifting through the chest, round to the side. You might feel the pressure come off your sit bones a little, arching the back a little as you come backwards. Round again, as though you have a great big cauldron. I do like a big cauldron. And change direction. Notice where your body likes it, where your body's asking you to stretch a little more, but being mindful not to overstretch. And come to rest. We're going to come to 4-point kneeling pose, tabletop, hands and knees, unless you want to stay in the chair. And if you do, that's fine as well. We'll take some cat-cow, so if you're staying in the chair, you can do that from seated. Hands are shoulder width apart, wrists under elbows, under shoulders, knees are under hips. If you're sitting, your feet are flat on the mat and your knees are above your ankles. Hands will be on your knees. Either way, tilt the pelvis, drop the belly to the mat or push it forwards, lift through the chest. Then tilt the pelvis round through the spine, chin to chest. And explore that yourself, your own speed. You can even take a little bit of side to side there, a little bit of intuitive movement. See where your body would like you to move. Or you can take a figure of 8, shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip, but still rounding and sinking. Come to rest. If you're on the mat, take your hands forward slightly. We're going to inhale forwards and round down and back to child's pose. Your thighs and your lower legs. So I'll show you once more. Inhale forwards, round, down and back. On the exhale. If you are sitting, turn the chair to the side. From this sitting position, you're going to inhale forward slightly and round out. Coming up, inhale forwards. Must be breezy outside, I can hear the wind chimes. Then, now this is going to be a bit difficult if you're sitting, but you can still visualize the movement. Come to the back of your mat. It's only so far back I can come. This is, some of you have done this with me before. Think of being playful and curious and possibly imagine what it was like as a child or a toddler, a baby, learning to crawl. We're going to take right hand forward, left knee. Left hand forward, right knee. Right hand forward, left knee. Left hand forward, right knee. You're repatterning. You're confusing your brain as well, which is ever so good for it. And then reverse it as you go back down the mat. One arm, the other leg. And it doesn't matter if you get all muddled. None of it matters. And brain confusing poses are especially good for our brains. We'll go once up and down the mat again. Opposite arm and leg. Just noticing how your body responds to that and how your brain responds. And what it thinks. As though it's disconnected. And then when you get to the back of the mat, come back to center and you can sink back to child's pose. So take the knee wider if you wish. You can always use a block or a cushion for your head. Lovely. Then come back to the middle of the mat and you can stay in tabletop or you can come onto your hands and knees. I'm turning forward to show you, or stay seated in your chair. In the spirit of strength and playfulness, we're going to have a lion's breath. And I urge you to remember that you will not appear in the recording. So you can do this in the full knowledge that only I will be there. So, lion's breath. If you're sitting, have your hands on your knees. Just imagine you're a lion about to pounce or roar. And if you're in tabletop, you can have your hands down, but you're going to push back a little and look up. And what we are going to do is stick our tongue out as far as we can and so inhale and inhale and nicely done. And we'll have inhale. For the benefit of those watching the recording, there were a beautiful array of lions on the screen. Okay, just come back to where you were in your tabletop or sitting in your seat. I'll show you first from the mat. We're going to come into gate pose. So, gently shifting the weight, I'm going to mirror, so shifting the weight into the right hand, extending the left leg back, coming onto the flat of the foot. And then this other leg, your right leg, is your stability, and so you're going to send it backwards out to the side of the mat a little bit. Imagine you have like that kickstand thing on a bike from childhood. As you inhale, take that left arm up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring it down. And on the next inhale, we're going to engage the core and rise the body all the way up. It's like, how on earth did we get here? Doing that beautifully from the chair. Well done. Pause here, and we're going to have a reverse of this. So it's a bit like a reverse warrior. So drop the hand to the extended leg and inhale and sweep the other hand over. Exhale into that. Inhale back up and down. We're going to go up once more again. I'm going to show you from the chair how you can do that. So one hand is staying down. You're going to extend the leg. Inhale, stretch up and up. Drop the hand. Inhale, reach the other hand over. Exhale, come back. Beautifully done. Just push back. To show you the opposite direction. Back up to tabletop. So opposite arm, you're going to rest into the left arm, extend the right leg behind, coming onto that outstretched foot. Inhale, reach that right hand to the sky. Exhale, bring it back down. This time we're going to go all the way up. So inhale up and then raise the body up. Always amazes me that we're up in the air. Drop the hand to the outstretched leg. Inhale up, exhale over. And then windmill the arms back down. Coming down to your child's pose again. Noticing the strength as you do that, but also the playfulness. We're going to come to standing. So you can either gently push to standing, come with facing dog. If you want to go through a downward dog, come to tabletop, take the hands forward a little, tuck the toes, hover the knees, send the sit bones back and up into downward dog. If you want to do this standing with a chair, you can. You can stand and you're still making that V shape using a chair. And then from your downward dog, you can walk your toes to your hands, hands to your toes, coming into a full. And you can rest on anything you want to here. Then generously bend the knees. And rise up, reaching up to the sky. And let go. Pause. Notice how you feel. And breathe. And we have a shimmy here. We have a shimmy. We have a shake. If you've never practiced here with us before, we always like a shimmy and a shake. It's good for the soul. Okay, grab a drink if you would like. Always grab a drink. My tea's getting a little cold, but I have tea in a flask for when I'm painting. Sometimes I paint the paper with the tea first. I don't know why. My husband's once told me I could, so I do. It's become a thing. Okay. If any of you were with me last week on the embodiment and mindfulness and meditation, we were looking at warrior and our inner warrior and strength. So we're going to look at that now, and you can do this seated or standing. I'll show you standing first. Actually, I'll show you first that you step out like this, but you can be just the same in a chair. So feet step out first. turn the left toes to the short edge of the mat. Right toes come in just a little bit. Same if you're seated. Hips are kind of forwards to that long edge. But always before a warrior, we take a hug, which is self-care pose. Hand across to the shoulder, hand around to the ribs. Drop the head and sink into that embrace, that squeeze. Kindness, compassion, self-love. And then when you're ready, on the next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms out and bend into that left knee. The left knee doesn't have to bend very much if that's how it is for you today, or it can come over the ankle. Same if you are sitting. Arms out to shoulder height. Gazes through the middle finger. And release back to the hug. Straighten the leg. And squeeze. Mean it. Mean your hug. Sweep out again. And release to one more hug. We have 3 hugs per warrior. This is warrior 2. And sweep out again, and we'll stay this time. And as you inhale, see if you can lengthen a little through the fingertips. If your arms are not up for this today, they can go on your hips. Notice where your body would like to be. And breathe. We're going to reverse our warrior, a bit like we did in gate pose. So we're going to shift a little bit to the left, just shift. Drop the back hand to the leg, turn the palm, and reach up and over. It doesn't have to be very high, just as high as feels good. And breathe. And come back to warrior 2. Shift, drop, turn, and lift. It's also a peaceful warrior. Come back. Warrior 2. One more. Drop, turn, and lift. And here, if that upper arm is aching, you can take it down to your hip as well. Otherwise, as you inhale, lengthen through the fingertips. As you exhale, soften. Lengthen. And soften. And come back to warrior 2. Now, if your legs are shaking, just have a little wiggle. But keep your feet there. And then find your warrior 2 again. And we're going to have a triangle. So I'm going to shift a little bit more. Straighten that left leg. Mind that hip doesn't pop out too far. But we're going to rotate. So, keeping the arms out to the side, rotate just as much as you want. You don't have to go too far. You can stay high up, or you can sink lower down, or you can put your hand on a block. Find where it feels good for you. And breathe. And feel the playfulness in your triangle. And from here, release that top hand down. It's going to walk down to the mat. You might want to lean on something. It's going to come to the front. We've come into a wide-legged forward fold. Still, you can do this from the chair. That's right. Feet are parallel. If you're on blocks, your hands can lightly rest on your blocks. Bend and stretch a little, side to side. And breathe. And then walk your feet in towards each other. And rise up again. Whew. Have a pause and notice. And notice if one side of your body feels different to the other. Because we've worked asymmetrically, apart from that fold at the end. And then we'll do that on the other side. So either sitting or standing, Take the legs out. Turn the toes of the right foot to the short edge and bring the left toes in a little bit. And you know what's coming. We got to take a hug. Take that hug. Drop the head a little, drop the gaze. Feel into the strength within, but the compassion within. And breathe. And then when you're ready, stay there if you want. But when you're ready, sweep your arms out, bending into that right knee, into your warrior two, and adjust your legs if you need to. Drop them back to the hug. And back to warrior two. One more hug. Give an extra squeeze here. Let yourself know that you mean it. And out to warrior two. And remember, inhale and lengthen a little through the fingertips. Exhale and soften. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften, taking your hands down whenever you need. Then have a little movement and come back, and we're going to move. Oh, we're going to reverse. That's what we're going to do. Shift a little. Drop the back arm. Turn the palm and lift into your reverse warrior. Your peaceful warrior. And come back. Shift, drop, turn, reverse, and come back. Last one. Shift, drop, turn, and reverse, and come back. Into triangle, we're going to shift a little bit more, straighten, and rotate. Rotate to the triangle of your choice. You can take your gaze up to that hand, but I fall over if I do that. So it's very much up to you, but I don't often demonstrate it. Doesn't look good on the video. It happened repeatedly last summer. And take that hand down to the mat, coming into your wide-legged forward fold. Feet parallel, toes forward, hands to your blocks. And we'll have a twist here this time. So whether you're sitting or standing in your wide-legged forward fold, take your right hand to your block and sweep your left hand up to the sky. And breathe. And come back. Left hand to the block, right hand to the sky. And release. Now from here, you can either walk your feet in, generously bend your knees, lengthen the spine and rise up, or you can come with me through goddess. So if you're coming through goddess, turn your toes out, bend your knees, cactus your arms and rise up into your goddess. Lovely. And release. Have a little shimmy and a shake. Okay. Everyone good? Yay. Good. We'll have a tree. But perhaps we'll get a bit playful with our tree. So find what's right for you and stick with that. So for our tree, I'm going to shift the weight into the right leg. Externally rotate the opposite leg. Bring heel to ankle. That's our first tree. You can do the same position seated. Simply sitting and bringing it in. You're still getting the benefit of that external rotation. Or you can stand and hold something as you do it. There is a current research project that's been published about the longevity of balance poses as the association of balance and longevity. You can take your foot higher to the calf, Not the knee, we avoid the knee, or higher still. And it's okay to wobble. Wobbling's good. Grow your branches if you wish. And you can stay here, or you can go lower in your tree, or you can move to a standing pigeon. Haha. Standing pigeon, let that leg come out, flex the foot. Foot goes across the knee and we bend that standing leg slightly. Woo! And release. Pause and notice. Notice how you feel. Notice, that's really well done. Nicely done. Notice how one side feels compared to the other, because there's quite a significant difference in my legs right now. And we'll take it to the side. So shift the weight. Externally rotate. Heel to ankle. Foot might come higher. You might hold on to something. Might go higher still. You might reach the roof. Find your tree. Grow your branches. Strength and playfulness all at once. And you might switch to a standing pigeon. And you might not. Let go. Pause and notice how that feels. Have a little shimmy and a shake. Okay, we've got another balance. Remember, we're going to do a warrior 3, a warrior 1 to a warrior 3. You can have something in front of you so that you can literally rest on it, or onto it, holding to the back of a chair. There's lots of options, so you don't think about what's in textbooks and things. So, warrior 1, I'll mirror so that I don't confuse you. Step your left foot out towards the short edge of the mat. Step your right foot back. And bend into that front knee. Hips are square to that short edge. Inhale and lift the arms. This is your warrior 1. Well done. Lovely. For your warrior 3, and you can do this from the chair as well, and simply lift the back leg. But take the hands to the hips. Step that back leg in a little. You're straightening the front leg. This is your first warrior 3. Toes are just on the mat, giving you a little bit of extra support. Or you can hinge at the hips and lift higher. You can take your hands, you can leave them where they are, have them hands to heart center, or arms overhead. But you can also reach down to something in front of you. And step back to warrior 1. Nicely done. Really well done on the chair there as well. And if you're in your warrior 1, you can even just lift that back leg a little off the mat, off the floor. Turn to the opposite side. Opposite leg forward and back. Hips are square. Inhale, lift up. Make sure that front knee is bent. And breathe. Hands to hips. Step the back foot in. Straightening that front leg, not locking it, but straightening it. And hinging. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And breathe. And step back. Warrior 1. Lovely. And release. Oh, shimmy and a shake again. Okay, we're going to come down to the mat and we're going to go through boat pose. So, because I love it. This is boat ready. And there are lots of options here. So boat ready, your sit bones are on the mat, your knees are bent, feet are flat, hands are behind you and on the mat. You can do this from the chair just by lifting your feet from seated. So to start with, lift the feet. You might straighten and point your toes and point and flex. And then if you wish, you can take your arms down by the sides of the legs. You can point and flex. You can bend and stretch. If you are in the chair, you can take your hands to the side and lift the legs and bend and stretch. And if you're on the mat, we can do low boat and high boat, but not if it's not right for you. Low boat. The problem is sometimes you can get stuck in low boat and not get back up to high boat. Low boat. High boat. And then roll down to the mat and feel the joy of the support from the earth. Or sit back in your chair and feel the support under your pelvis and hips and under your back. Pause for a moment, knees to chest if you're lying down, and have a little rock side to side. Okay, we're going to have another twist here, but it's pulling the cat's tail. If you are seated, we'll have a simple twist. I'll show you in just a second. But if you're lying down, stretch the left leg out full. Take the right foot to the left knee. Left hand to right knee. And encourage that right knee across. At this point, you can either take the upper shoulder and fingertips together, or you can stretch out that upper arm, or you can take hold of the left foot with the right hand. And I call this tangle twist because I can never work out in this position which leg is right and which is left. And just try and soften into that twist. If you are sitting, let me just get my bearings again. One foot out to the side and turn. So turn both knees to one side and take your hands to the opposite side and the gaze. So you've still got the benefit of a twist. That's it. Yeah. Then gently release from your twist. Come back to centre and bring your knees to your chest again. Have a little rock side to side. And swap side. Right foot stretches out. Left foot to right knee. Right hand to left knee. Encourage that knee across. And either stay there and roll out the arm or have the fingertips to the shoulder. Or take hold of that lower leg. Take your gaze a little over your shoulder if that's comfortable. And breathe. And gently let go. Come back to center and bring your knees back into your chest. And we'll have cow face legs. If you're sitting in a chair, you can do the first part of this the same. So left foot flat on the mat, right leg over so that the knees are tightly crossed. And you can then lift the feet off the mat. If you're staying in a chair, don't go further than that. If you're on the mat, you can then send your feet out to the side and take hold of each foot. You've got the opposite foot in each hand. And you might find you can feel a juicy stretch through the hip. Gently let go and swap sides. Left leg crosses over right, squeeze them together. Lift off the mat and take hold of the feet. Feel that juicy stretch. And let go. Take the feet flat to the mat and just have a little windshield wiper side to side. Knees are bent. Knees just rock side to side. We'll take a bridge. So, knees are still bent. Feet come as close to your hips as you can. If this isn't right for you today, you can visualize it. So feet are flat. As you inhale, lift the arms up and overhead and lift the hips off the mat. If you're seated, you can still take your arms up and overhead and tilt the pelvis. As you exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift up and over. Feel the strength through your body there. Exhale, come back down. It doesn't matter how high you lift. If your legs are moving out to the side, you can always put a block between your thighs. And one more. Inhale, lift up and over. Hips lift. And stay for a couple of breaths if that feels okay. You can even take your arms back down and keep the hips up and take your shoulder blades together and interlace your fingers under the body. And then release and let your hips come back down, knees back into your chest. One more pose. If you're on the mat and you have a cushion or a block, take it under your hips, under the sacrum. And then send your legs into the air. So support under the sacrum, legs into the air. If you are seated, sit back comfortably in your seat. If you can rest your legs up on something, you can do. If you want to lie on the mat, you can also rest your feet on a chair. Or a wall, for that matter. I'm going to sit up, but I'd like you to stay there just for a few moments. And tuning back into the breath again here. And an invitation to extend the exhale. So you might breathe in for 2 and out for 4. Or in for 3 and out for 6. We're inviting the parasympathetic nervous system to increase its activity. Increase a little bit of rest and digest. And see if you can find some extra softness here. You have an option here to stay in this position or lower your legs for Shavasana, the guided relaxation. And if you do lower your legs, you have the option to put the cushion under your knees just for that extra bit of support. Pull a blanket over you if you're cool or cooling down. Even socks on. Even take a little drink. This is not the guided meditation, but Shavasana is so important at the end of your physical practice. So settling into any position that feels good to you right now. Any wiggles and jiggles. And let yourself sink into the mat or the chair. Take your attention to your right hand, noticing the thumb and each of the fingers, the palm and the back of the hand, the lower arm, the elbow, the upper arm, the shoulder, down the right side of the body, the right side of the chest, the waist, the right hip, down the right leg, noticing each of the toes, the sole and the top of the foot, the heel, the ankle, the lower leg, the knee, the upper leg and the right hip. Take your attention to your left hand, the thumb, each of the fingers, the palm and the back of the hand, the wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, left shoulder. Take your attention down the left side of the body, left side of the chest, the waist, the hip, and down the leg. Notice each of the left toes, the top and the sole of the foot, the heel and the ankle, the lower leg, the knee, the upper leg, back to the left hip. Notice the chest expanding and relaxing, the belly rising and falling, and the length of the spine resting on the mat. Be aware of the neck, the face, the eyes, ears, nose and mouth, and the back of the head. Allow your whole body to rest here for the next couple of minutes in Shavasana, in silence. Deepen your inhale and your exhale. Take some small movements, wiggling your fingers and toes. Perhaps take a full body stretch. Or bring your knees into your chest and rock side to side. And then gently, as you're ready, bring yourself back to a seated position. or back to where we began. And if your eyes are closed, then open them again.